Howdy y'all, we got the Bulldog on the channel. We got a rather sad story today. We got a 2011 Kia Sorento, and I have heard of this, I have seen it, but I have never seen it just before the explosion went off. And I think that's what's going on with this one right here. The story is, she was driving along and Bambi was depressed and out in front of her, and she blasted it pretty good. It didn't do significant damage to this thing, but enough that the inner fender wells were rubbing on the tires, so she just parked it until she got the money to fix it. Well, another vehicle went down, or for some reason she was going to have to go back to driving this until she got it fixed, and she drove to town. Everything was good. It had been sitting for a while, so she figured she's going to have the oil changed. She went to the oil change place, and they refused to change the oil. Rightly so, because they looked underneath of it and they showed her what was going on. They checked the oil. It was 4 quarts low. I think it only hold between 5 and 6 quarts, so that was bad. It was full. It sat all that time, and it was full before she left. What in the heck? Look at the oil. It has just painted the bottom side of this vehicle. And look at that. It is just puking out the bell housing. Now it's coming a little bit from up there. That's the starter. Whenever they leak out the back, the head of the starter is sticking out past the flywheel. So when the flywheel is slinging it around, it usually will catch on the starter head and just pour out of the starter. And that's where all this stuff is coming from. It's being slung off the flywheel, and the dirty oil is all up around the transmission. Well, they put oil in it at the oil change place, and the oil light has been flickering. I don't know if it was flickering before she went to the oil change place or not, but it is now. Here's the point where we just stopped. I got it up in the air. I looked. There's no sensors or anything that are leaking. It is strictly coming out of the bell housing area. That means the rear main seal is leaking. That's where the oil is coming from. The trouble is going to be, why is it all of a sudden leaking this badly? Why is the oil light coming on? It is not full of oil. It's about a pint down. It leaked a pint of oil between town and here, 5 miles, 6 miles. She lives 20 miles away. You do the math, that's pretty close to leaking out the 4 quarts before she got to town. So at this point, I stopped. I called her. We're right before Thanksgiving here, and we weren't planning on doing any work to it today, but I wanted to have an answer for her before the holiday so she could be thinking about something. Well, I just got off the phone with her. I encouraged her to Google Kia Sorento 2011 and just read everything. I told her that I remember there being a class action lawsuit against either Kia or Hyundai or both for the same reasons. The reason I say this is one of them gaps, unicorn, I guess you'd say, is they're either fine or they're not. They've blown up. This is the first one I've seen that is puking the oil out, but still runs. Everything else has been locked up. We've had half a dozen or more in the shop here fairly recently for blown motors, and usually they're completely out of oil. It's just empty. This one was caught before it was gone. I suspect that it's spun a main bearing or something to that effect. Something is causing the oil pressure loss at idle, and it's puking oil out. That would explain both of them. But whenever they come out and try to tell you, hey, there's a problem, if they're refusing to do anything, that's not always a bad thing. You might feel like it's a bad thing as the customer because you need your vehicle. But they could have changed the oil, took her money, and then just said, you have a big oil leak. That happened here a couple weeks ago. She leaked a whole bunch of oil on her way here to have the thing repaired. They just put oil in it. I think that's the right thing to do is to, stop and reassess before you spend a bunch of money. She's going to do some research on her own. And if you own one of these Kias or Hyundais, there's like a 10-year span where you're just holding a grenade. Sometimes, you catch it on something and the pin gets pulled. This one, the pin has been pulled, but it just hasn't gone off yet. She's gonna check out her options. If you're a mechanic and you're watching this, stop. Don't just do the job because you were told. Do the right thing. Discuss it with the customer. Let them make an informed decision. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.